Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode where I review vintage fountain pens. Well, today I have for you a modern fountain pen this time. It was launched in 1977, and we are talking about a gorgeous slim fountain pen, the Parker 180. This particular version you see in front of you is the so-called Imperial version, and it's practically 18 heavily gold electroplated fountain pen. Quite nice. Unfortunately, this particular example has a little flaw to it. You can see that the clip is missing the end of the arrow with the pointy stick. We have only the part with the feathers, but I don't think I care because I paid around 25 euros or 30 American dollars for it, so I think I did okay. So, like I told you, it was launched in 1977. You can see the trend of the market from that period of time. So, all the fountain pens had this tendency to be quite slim, and there was a big competition, of course, with the ballpoint pen. But this particular example sold surprisingly well thanks to its slim factor and, of course, its cool looking nib. Just look at this nib, guys. It's a wonderful triangular nib. And it was a wow factor back then in 1977. In fact, this design of the nib was so popular that the Chinese copied this particular design of the nib. And guys, this is a white feather 203. This is a Chinese made fountain pen intended for the export market. And if we look closely at the nibs, let me give you a little zoom, guys. So remember, in the right side we have the Chinese copy, and on the left side we have the beautiful original nib. If you look closely at the top of the nib, of the Chinese nib, we can see the gold plating is fading away because this is a steel nib, gold plated. But I believe that my nib from this Parker 180, I believe it is a gold nib. Of course, the Parker 180 was available from 1988, also with a steel nib, and it was more cheaper than the version with the gold nib. So these are the front and the back. On the Chinese model, we don't see imprints on the feed. It is slightly different from the original plastic feed of the Parker 180, and the Parker 180 we have an X and an M. Practically the Parker 180 nib was designed to be rigid enough to withstand a certain amount of pressure because customers were quite used to the rough handling of ball pens, and they tended to press too hard and damage the nibs. This pen was advertised as one nib, one point, two ways to write, since it wrote equally well on both sides. And practically the name 180 comes from 180 degrees because you could turn the pen like this 180 degrees, and it wrote with a thinner line. What is remarkable about the Parker 180 is its elegance, guys. And the Chinese tried to copy this model, but they didn't succeed. Let me show you. So this is the white feather we have here, made in China. This is definitely a model that was intended for the export market. And just look at it, guys. So I'm trying to show you that the American one was quite thinner. Look at this, guys. So it enters with the whole diameter on the other fountain pen. I hope you can notice this. So I will leave the Chinese copy aside. You must know, guys, that this fountain pen came with a aromatic filling mechanism. What is interesting about this aromatic filling mechanism is the fact that we could remove it and we can fit it with a Parker ink cartridge or another ink converter. I have a curiosity, guys. So this is the aromatic filling mechanism, but I also have here a Parker ink converter, a modern Parker ink converter. Yes, and it is compatible with that. So a good point for this vintage fountain pen from 1977. But I also have an international size big ink cartridge, and this is a no-no, guys. So you must buy yourself proprietary Parker ink cartridges. But it's a good point that with the modern ink converter it works. For the preservation of its original aromatic filling mechanism, I will use this simple modern ink converter that you can buy for yourself in the stores. I believe it costs only 5 or 6 euros, or maybe maximum 10 American dollars. So for the writing sample, I will use this ink. For the ink, I thought to myself that this Faber-Castell will be quite nice. It is a royal blue erasable ink, so it should work just fine. I will just shake it a little bit. Let me get a little tissue. Okay, I have here the tissue. And now let me try to fill it with ink. Oh, I hate when this happens. So let me put this back here. Okay. Let me give you a little zoom out. And I have this ink converter. Of course, I turn the piston knob like this. And now I immerse it in ink. And now I will take the ink. You can see the large capacity of ink. Okay, guys, let me put the ink here. Let me put the original aromatic filling mechanism here. And let's see if we can close it. Yes, we can close it perfectly. Before I will do the writing sample, guys, always put back the cap on the bottle of the ink. And now I will change the angle of the camera. Now, guys, I am ready for the writing sample. You can post this fountain pen and look at it. It posts quite well. I think it takes all the length of the cap. I think I will leave it posted just to see something. Of course, I don't recommend you to use it posted because it's metal on metal and in time it will develop micro scratches. Let me give you a nice little zoom. So I have here a Parker. 180. This is the Imperial version. I think it's 18 karat or 22 karat. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But, well, guys, I think it's 18 karat or 22 karat heavily electroplated gold on this material. It looks quite beautiful, guys. So we have a Parker 180 Imperial. It was made in USA. It first saw the light of day in 1977. This particular model, in my opinion, I believe it is a nib made out of gold, a 14 karat solid gold nib, and it's an XM, practically a medium one. I'm quite curious to see if we have some flex to it. No, unfortunately no flex. Let me show you guys how juicy this nib is. It's not such a juicy nib. And I'm curious to see the reverse writing, so 180 degrees. Reverse writing. Yes, on reverse writing, no scratches, no loss of ink. It's a yes, and if we have a medium here, I think this is a F for a fine nib. It is okay, it writes okay, especially for short writing sessions. I think it is quite nice. Let me tell you about the pressure now. Here no pressure, and here some pressure. No visible line variance. Very important, guys, I'm sorry, but I didn't leave its dimensions on the screen, and I will do that right now. Let me tell you, it is a slim fountain pen, and although it is a metallic fountain pen, only the grip section is made out of plastic, I think it is quite a nice everyday writer or even a school fountain pen for children. Of course, this is rather beautiful. Let me see what we have imprinted on the cap. I'm curious. Made in USA and Parker. Quite nice, guys. This is a wonderful fountain pen, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. Let's return to the writing sample, guys. So I've already shown you that we have the possibility of reverse writing. Of course, this doesn't quite secure. I think I will leave it uncapped, guys. So reverse writing, definitely a possibility. No line variations, and let's not forget about the signature. Let me see. Quite nice signature. And guys, the moment you all were waiting for. Yes, I want to tell you about the quick brown fox. And let me see here. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And let me do also with 100 degrees. Okay, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So this is it, guys. This was my review of a wonderful fountain pen. I didn't pay a large sum of money for this fountain pen, and I'm quite proud to have it in my collection. Till now, I was proud with my Chinese copy of it, but I can tell you, yes, it is a wonderful piece. And of course, I'm glad to have it in my current collection. So guys, this was my review of the Parker 150. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you find one in the wild which is in a good shape, please try it out. It is fun, it is reliable, and one of the most interesting fountain pens in the Parker portfolio. It certainly has this intimidating looking nib. It almost looks like a sharp, pointy knife. And yes, it looks like a weapon that can be used with deadly effects. So guys, this was my review of the Parker 180 Imperial. I hope you've liked it. If you liked it, please support my activity by subscribing to my channel. I want to wish you to have a nice day wherever you are. I want to thank you for your time. Please stay safe in this pandemic and God bless. Bye bye.